Coach, you faced Peasley a couple of times. Seems like he's playing with some moxie, some kind of confidence right now, even running and throwing the football. What have you seen from him, and what makes him special?
You just said it. I mean, the ability to both run it well and also be very, very skilled on the passing part of it, and then to create the out of scope, the out of design plays too, and has been really, really effective that way.
Defensively, Wyoming faced some really good teams, really good offenses, Texas Tech, Fresno State, Texas. They've kind of held their own and even shown that they're a really good unit. What have you seen on that side of the ball?
You said it. That's exactly right. I mean, to play, some incredibly explosive offenses and to be that effective, I think you look at it by and large, there aren't too many rookies on that side of the ball. Those guys have played a lot of snaps, guys that have been around for a long time, and I think they benefited from that too.
Coach, I know you don't get much say in it, but did you like the timing of this bye week, and how were you guys able to utilize it?
It worked out well. We had a regular week, in terms of the pads, and we weren't full pads, we're in shoulder pads and the whole bit. And so that was helpful for us. And I think so much of what we have to do, not only for this game, but for later in the season, and every bit as importantly, the investment that you make in your younger guys for down the road in terms of 2 or 3 years from now.
And what you guys have been able to do early, 5-0 so far, I know you don't like to talk too much about that, but what's the message going into a game like this where maybe your guys do feel a bit more pressure going into a game against Wyoming?
Yeah, they shouldn't. And I don't think we've ever said anything about what our record is. I think our guys, they realize the sheer challenge that's involved of just being able to play any sport at the Air Force Academy. And so just the work that goes in and day out in the weight room and in the meeting room just to try to generate growth. And even the improvement that may seem a little bit nebulous, it's not.
Going off of that, just looking at the past few games, what have you liked from this group, and what are you hoping, or how are you hoping to maintain that heading into this tough matchup?
We won't maintain that, and I think that's the biggest point of truth there is that there's no such thing as static or maintaining.
We were talking about this. Has there ever been a quarterback that you know of who has 2 wins against Air Force coming with different teams, like Peasley?
That's a great question.
Do you know of anybody?
I don't. That's a great question.
I mean, is there anything about his skill set, that's obviously last year's game wasn't based on quarterback play necessarily as part of the group, but he had a huge game second half from Utah State.
Sure did.
Is there anything about his skill set that is particularly problematic for you?
Like I said, an incredibly talented young man. When he plays, that's when their team plays the best. And, I think you look at, the games that they've won, just what a tremendous factor he's been.
Over the past, 10 years, this series has been great. It's good games. Home team usually wins. A lot of back and forth. Is there anything about Wyoming that makes it a difficult matchup for Air Force just year after year?
Well, everybody we play is difficult. They are for sure. It's just, part of it. I think anytime you're a federal school, you get into a major conference, there are some things that there are some differences, and I think we could probably say that by a good number of teams that we've played this year already within the league, and yet, like you said, certainly it's been the case too with them.
Going back off of that question, Greg Bohl had a lot of success the last 20 years as a head coach. What makes him special as a coach, and kind of what do you expect from their teams? Like, what makes their teams kind of different from other teams?
I think they're incredibly well-resourced. You look at the previous school, they've won some games and probably were in a situation where, if you took the top 8 or 10 resource schools in the country at that level, they absolutely were up there. And then they made it even better as a staff, and I think they've done that at Wyoming too.
Health-wise, anybody going to be available this week that wasn't last time you played?
I don't know yet, and that's not to dodge. It's just until you really go out on a Tuesday practice, wearing pads and the whole bit, and finding out not just who went through the practice, but really practiced in a way that showed you, all right, I can play this week.
And with the bye week, did you have any, you've talked a lot about guys who are kind of getting their first college football action, and obviously I think the quarterback and some other positions. Did you have extra meeting time last week to maybe be able to look back and let some of what they've done marinate and then apply some lessons?
We didn't. We do try to draw as many lessons as we possibly can. Good things and maybe things that we don't want to do, not only from our own team, but try to really digest some situational experiences too that happen throughout the sport.
And with Emanuel Michelle, with the weird August he had, he didn't practice right away, right?
He didn't.
I guess as you observe, how has he been able to kind of get together the performance he has without a normal lead up to it?
Yeah, I'm amazed at what he's done. I mean, truly, you go essentially for 9 months with no football. It's going to take a while to get just with the pad level, and you have a few carries at that position. You have a few of those few carries that tend to be a little bit through some racket, maybe more than a few, maybe a lot. Great spirit. I think you'll sense that right away. Anybody, if you've interacted with him, cares immensely about others in terms of just really being a fantastic teammate too. Whether he's in there or not in there, he's been unbelievable ever since he's been here.
Going on the defensive side of the ball with P.J. Ramsey, guy who didn't play a lot his first couple of seasons here at Air Force, now leads the team in tackles and tackle for losses. What have you seen from him and kind of his ability to continually to get better and progress as a player?
I think the focus, the aptitude, the willingness to learn, because those are two different things. Enormous aptitude to digest and be very, very coachable, but also the sheer desire to be too. And the input, the investment that he's made in the weight room has played a huge part in that too.
What kind of makes him special, like on the field, like his abilities as well?
He does have good quickness. He can play with low pad level when necessary, and yet there's some skill there as a pass rusher too. And I think in this day and age of football at any level, you have to have some guys that show some ability to rush. I think especially off edges where they can get a little bit wider on tackles in certain down and distance situations and do a good job that way. And he does.
I'm just curious, did you have any football work at all, like from basically December through at whatever point you started in August?
Oh, saying just because to turn back and then all this.
Because you were gone, right? Did you go back home during the turn back?
I went back home during turn back. I'm just a competitor. I love football, so I definitely was around the game a little bit back home, and just staying in shape, staying ready to go for whatever may happen. But yeah, to tell you that I wasn't working out would be a lie. So yeah, I was definitely staying in the weight room and running around still. So.
Was it like a YMCA gym you were working at? Like where do you go to simulate?
So I was at LA Fitness, and then there's a lot of guys, a lot of NFL guys, and a lot of college guys training at this one facility. I was at Georgia Sports Performance, so I was working there with a few guys, just keep my body ready to go.
When you put the pads back on, how did that compare to other Augusts? Did you feel like you had put yourself in the same spot?
No, it was definitely different. Obviously, you go from not being in pads from December all the way to August. It was kind of late August. I missed a good bit of the fall camp, so it definitely was different. It was like, okay, this is what it feels like to get hit again. So it did take me a second to, I can move well and all that. It did take me a second to just get hit and like, okay, yeah, football's back. So
Emmanuel, you guys have had an incredible start, especially the fullback/running back room. How have you been able to kind of just step up and fill those shoes? Obviously, with Brad Roberts gone after last year, you guys have just kind of picked up like nothing.
Me and Brad have a good relationship. Me and Zeke have a good relationship as well. And we kind of talked to each other closely during the season. Last 3 seasons we played together, and we talk closely in the off season as well. And we still talk week to week as we go into games. And I watch the way he plays, see all the good things he's done. He's a phenomenal player, and we kind of just give each other feedback. So like, even last year when it was him in the game or me in the game, like I felt like it was no let off. And you can ask Brad. He was confident that putting me in was a good outcome as well. So.
And I know you guys don't talk too much about your record, but you guys are 5-0 going into a big matchup against Wyoming. What's the conversation been like in the locker room, and what's kind of the message going into this big game?
It's really just the next game. The next game is the biggest game. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. I think a big thing that we wanted to accomplish this year was to kind of get our get back on guys, on teams that we haven't beaten in the previous matchup. We did that with San Jose, Utah State. And Wyoming would be another chance to do that too. So I think getting our get back is kind of the message. And we know to do that, and here's another test to do that. But at the end of the day, go 1-0. It doesn't matter the opponent. Go 1-0.
You say go 1-0. What from Wyoming, though, have you seen so far this season? What makes them a more challenging opponent?
They play us good defensively. On their offense, they do like to kind of obviously they don't run a triple option, but they do like to just pound the ball a little bit more so than passing. They'll pass when they need to. Challenges, I think we beat ourselves. If anything, I think the only way we lose is we beat ourselves. As long as we take care of what we have going on in our locker room, I think we'll be just fine.
We've talked to some of the defensive guys and even the offensive line and just about how they kind of felt like they were going to be better this year. Do you feel, what's the difference between last season and this season, just where your confidence is at maybe in your room specifically?
Yeah, so I've been here since 2019. We won 11-2 that year. Next real season was 10-3. Next real season 10-3 as well. I think it's just kind of like you've seen that what the standard has been. Double-digit wins, playing the bowl game, most recently winning CIC. I think people are ready to raise that standard, and I feel like going 10-3 again is not a winning season. In my personal opinion, I think it's definitely something that's gonna get done. But how do we continue to raise the bar and leave this place better than we found it? And it's been pretty good in the last few years, but I think there's still a little bit more that we can go accomplish, and I think that's what kind of motivates us.
Last couple of years, Wyoming, Army, Navy have been kind of the toughest to run against, especially up the middle. You've got 3 of those in the next 4 weeks. Like, coming off the bye, how do you brace yourself for what's coming?
Oh, I love it. I'm excited. Like, bring it on. Let's do it. I want to play whoever we want to write down as the most physical matchup. Let's do it. Let's bring it on, and let's just go show what we're about. And I think we can do that in the next few weeks.
Will the ultimate success for you be when you're not asked about Brad Roberts again, when it's just about what you have done?
No, I think the ultimate success is being able to, at the end of December or January, wherever we're playing our bowl game at, and be like, yeah, we got it done. Ultimate success would be able to win a CIC, win a conference championship, which CIC is going to get done, but winning a conference championship is something that's been like, we need to make this happen. And I think that's the ultimate success for this team is win a conference championship along with winning the CIC. But the whole Brad Roberts, E-Man, like I said, me and Brad talk, we laugh about it, we joke about it week to week, whatever. But Brad's a phenomenal player.
When you talk about the conference championship, do you guys allow yourself to kind of look at what this week would mean in terms of the way things would shake out?
Yeah, but you can't buy into the hype. You got to just focus on, like I said, it doesn't matter the opponent. Want to know that week, whether it's Robert Morris or it's a pretty good Wyoming team. You just got to go 1-0 that week. And I think when you do look at it, you look at it on that Sunday after that game. It's okay, this is where we're at. But like the focus is just getting the game plan from the coaches and executing it as best as possible.
When you look at this offense, is there something exciting about playing a team that likes to just go straight at defenses? And you see a lot of these, and you'll see a lot of them in the next few weeks. But as a linebacker. Do you like that?
Yeah, it's always fun being able to figure out how to stop the run, and then the game plan that goes into it, and the practice, and it's a challenge, but it is a lot of fun.
In terms of the conference, I mean, do you guys allow yourself to look at what this game could mean, big picture, as you go forward?
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, we know that, but at the end of the day, we're going to come into every game as a game we want to win in a big game.
You guys have been able to see their quarterback a couple of times. What are his strengths? What are you guys looking at film that you need to be not concerned with, but mindful of going against him?
Yeah, we think he's got a good arm, and his ability to run the ball as well, being able to be a good scrambler. So being able to keep that pocket and put pressure on him is going to be a big thing for us.
And the complementary football that you guys are playing on the defensive side, giving it over to the offense. I think of the San Jose State game where they were moving the ball a little bit, and then your offense scores. You guys go out 3 and out. I mean, how big of a key has that been for you guys to be able to play complementary football? What you guys do on the defensive side, the offense feeds off of it, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's an important aspect of the game, being able to get the ball to our offense, and then us being able to stay off the field for a little bit while our offense marches down the field. It's nice. I think we work very well together.
You guys have been able to hold opponents to 10 or less points in 3 out of your 5 games so far. Is there a number you guys try to stick out, or is that not even on the radar going into a game?
I think our goal is to not let up any points every game. And it's obviously a tough thing to do, especially in our conference. But that's how I look at it, is 0 points is what we would strive for.
With you being a senior, correct? You've been here for a while, seeing the team kind of go through some things. What's the camaraderie like this year that's maybe different from years past?
I think we've been able to play a lot of football with each other, with some of the turnback guys, and being around for an extra semester. And we have a great team aspect, the Bolt brotherhood, and we gel well together.
What was that game like last year in Laramie? You know, I don't know if you were I think you were one of the sick guys. Like, what was it like to play under those conditions, and then how excited are you to see them again?
It was a tough week of practice. Everyone was sick, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter. We got outplayed and we got beat, and none of it matters this year because it's a brand new game. But I'm excited.
Like, were you still sick up through the day of the game?
Yes, I think everyone was.
And speaking of the turnback guys, with Emanuel Michelle, like, how much tackling drills have you done, like, one-on-one against him, and what can you explain about, like, the style of runner he is?
We don't really go against them that much. A little bit in fall camp. I haven't been able to do spring ball because of injuries, but I think the little bit I saw of him in fall camp is he's a super strong dude, and if you're high, then it's going to be a problem for you. His legs and just the way he keeps him moving after contact, it's a tough thing to tackle.
And physically, coming off the bye, how are you feeling?
Feel great. It was a good week of mentally preparing and physically, being able to kind of get that extra rest day was super nice for the body.
And then I know other teams prepare a lot for you guys, throughout the year because you're so different. Did you guys use some of this time to look ahead at Navy and Army with them on the horizon?
We did. We looked at a little bit of Navy, and just kind of tuning up some things from what we do in spring and fall, and then we shifted immediately to Wyoming.